I'm getting ready to go for a walk. And I said, let me go ahead and get ready, be ready. I'm so excited. Good morning, good morning, good morning. We're here today. I have had 3 very rough weeks. I've got some medical things going on, but I know you guys will continue to pray for me. Each day it gets a little better, but tomorrow is my day. Tomorrow I turn the big 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, like the number 55 draft pick, Bronny James. And so tomorrow I'll be 55. That's a double portion of grace. 5 is grace, right? So today. Put in the chat if you are a June. Put in the chat if you are a June. And I say June to June to June, baby. I barely made it. June 30th at 2:05 in the PM. Yes, June 30th could have always or easily have been a July baby, but June baby, yeah, with all those Cancer attributes. All right. So let me tell you, you guys are wonderful. I'm so many great things are happening in my personal and professional life that I can't wait to share it, but I can't do it right now. I'm actually sitting of trying some new equipment. Um, and I like this equipment. I do. I wish I could show you what I did. I have some like I don't know, vases that are on my dining room table, and I took the new equipment that I have for for taping and videography, and I actually just tighten it on it. So it is because it's a really little neck on it, and then there's a big bottom. And I was like, let me try this. I like this. Let me know in the chat if y'all like this. This scenery is like, yeah, yeah, yeah. As Dre would say, excuse me. Oh, I did not say Drake. Oh my God, that would start a whole frenzy. Excuse me, Kendrick Lamar. I didn't mean to say Drake. But anyway, as Usher would say, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm loving, 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 loving this city. So I want to talk today about and just to be honest with you, I I'm just so excited when I'm always speaking about finances. I'm always excited because I'm hoping that whatever I say or present will do something, will evoke something inside you guys, and to make you want to have that light bulb moment to make some type of change. Just one little thing, and I just get excited because one thing leads to the next. And then you have step 1, step 2, step 3, and then you're on 1,000 steps, and you realize I have my $1,000, or I paid off my first bill. So, whatever the things that I say that spark you to that next level, that's what I'm here for. And when I share with you guys of the financial feats that I've hurdled through over these last 3, um, you know, I just can't believe it. 3 years, where my life has taken me financially. But it gives me that much motivation to say, okay, if I did it, then you guys can do it too, right? So we're gonna work together in harmony, and let me share some of the steps to your financial future or financial freedom. So, steps to financial freedom. It it's like the first thing you have to do is gather yourself. And when I say gather yourself, like step 1 is just gathering yourself, acknowledging that some things in my life need to change financially. How many of you will agree? How many of you will agree that step number 1 is just acknowledging that you have some financial things that need to be set right? And we all have had to do that because none of us came out of the womb on day 1 knowing about finances. That's true. That's true, right? So let me know in the chat if you came out of the womb and you were like, "Oh, I am a financial guru." No. And at 15 you was not. And at 20 you was not. But at what point did you acknowledge that, oh, I really have a problem financially? Was it when you couldn't buy those books for financial aid, didn't cover everything, and you still needed some more money for maybe a book? And that book might have only been like $70 or $80, but when you scrapped, you scrapped, and that's all you have. Mama and them done sent you, grandmama, the church done sent you a check, like everybody, and you still short for $75. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Having some sense about you financially. What you gonna do? So that's the first thing. Just acknowledging I'm just truly living paycheck to paycheck. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, first of all, be glad that you can at least pay the bills that you can pay. You might not have but $3.49 left until the next 2 weeks. But you have groceries and you paid all your bills and you have some gas in the car to get back and forth to work for a little bit. In the meantime, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you, bad boys, bad boy? What you gonna do in the meantime? You just have $3.49. But celebrate the fact that food, shelter, gas, transportation, you have the basics. How are we gonna get over that next hurdle for the next 2 weeks? $3.49. You can only go to the dollar store like 2 times, you know? And that means 2 items. That's it. So what are you going to do? These are the things that kind of perplex us and make us either want to change financially or make it even worse. It's like, well, I'm already in debt. Let me go take this credit card and go and charge up some stuff and get some things off my mind. I just want to go hang out with the girls. Let me go with the fellas down the block, have a little drink, get my mind off it. Well, after you do all those things to add more debt, those same $3.49 is all you have left. And now you've incurred more debt. So let's get on the part to acknowledge that I have some issues with my finances, and somehow, some way or another, I need to get them fixed, right? I need to fix it. So a lot of people say, I got this, I got this. Well, it's been about 7 years now, and you're paycheck to paycheck, in more debt because you're using your credit card. Remember, you're using that credit card to fund and to offset, what you don't have. This is where I want the light bulb moment to come. We have to humble ourselves. We have to get some help. And we need to be open and transparent about where we are. Because for the last 7 years, you've been struggling. And you can't get out of this financial conundrum. So the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results. How many of you feel like you do not live paycheck to paycheck? You're not using your credit card to get you to the next pay period, and that you have an abundance of savings and investments after you get paid? In the chat, let me know who's done that. Who's able to do those things? Most of us do not have the extra money. We're so grateful to pay what we can pay. And so now that I have your attention, step one is acknowledging that something has to change. Acknowledging that your finances is not the way that they should be. And you're sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired. You work hard. Every week you go in there, you give them 110%, and you come back and you get this check. And although you're grateful for the check, it's not covering anything but just the bills. Now, we have some people over to the left that don't even get the bills paid. It's like, okay, am I going to pay the lights or the water, or is it the mortgage? What am I going to do? You're just playing Russian roulette because something's going to give. And what is the least harmful? Well, you need gas because at this particular time when you're suffering, it's wintertime. So you got to make sure that gas is on, right? Maybe we just going to eat a little less food, all right? Something coming from the grocery bill. Whatever it is, You have to make a decision. So you're in a different place. The people that are able to at least pay their bills, at least pay their bills, right? They're able to pay their bills, but they only have $3.49 left. And then we have some that are trying to figure out what bills are they going to pay because they're so short. That's reality. Today, let's get past that. Let's get past that. First, acknowledging that I need help with my finances. I am tired of living paycheck to paycheck. I'm tired of not being able to pay my bills. I'm tired of being frustrated emotionally and physically and psychologically and physically because it affects all of that. The next step is, what are you going to do? Bad boys, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What's the next step? The next step is to come up with this plan. And that means to find resources to assist you. And that's why most of you on this call is like, how can I make this happen? How can I change my financial situation? The acknowledgement is number one. Number two is seek help and guidance. And how do we do that? We go back to the people that we know in our family, in our social circle, on our job, that you know are great with their finances. And that is when we humble ourselves and say, look, I got this one piece of paper. It may have lines on it, it may not, but I need help. I have a pencil or a pen. Tell me what I need to do. Let me adjust this because I don't want to keep getting the disturbing things. Okay. So you have that piece of paper with lines or without, or you have your cell phone. Look at me getting ready to pick my cell phone. This up here. You have your cell phone. You have the notes section. You're going to record some notes, or you're going to type some notes, transcribe some notes, whatever you're going to do, but you are ready. You've come to the point that you're ready. So now what we do, we take some wisdom. Now, everything that someone tells you might not be right for you at that time, because you could be in a different financial situation, but keep your mouth closed and listen. Listen and see what they have to say. And you just ask them, listen, I'm living paycheck to paycheck, and I noticed that you're able to pay your bills. You talk about you have savings and investments. Like, how do you do it? You ride around in a decent car. You don't seem to be frustrated on payday. You actually happy on payday. I'm frustrated because I know I'm going to get my check, but I'm barely going to be making it. And you figure out what those simple strategies. The next thing is they're going to say, stop spending. First of all, you have to stop spending. And when we say stop spending, we mean anything extra outside of what is needed in that household. And that part gets tricky because most people do not know what is needed. Because when I say something is a need, being a debt-free consumer, debt-free person, and when someone that has bills and they're living paycheck to paycheck and they're in $100,000 of debt, their need might be defined differently, or their knowledge or lack of knowledge about finances. So the need is, you need your lights, your water, your gas, some transportation, a roof over your head. Yeah, those are things that you need. Gotta have that food. But at the end of the day, it does not have to be steak. It does not have to be a chain restaurant. It's some meals that we prepare at home by cooking, those are some things you do. So when you make decisions about what is a need and a want, you got to go back to your childhood and say, we always seem to have enough, or we never had enough. Those examples of what you saw kind of affect who you are today. Either you saw a good steward of finances or you didn't. And it's no fault of their own. They just didn't know any better. But today you're saying, I need to make the right decisions. I'm going to go and buy some rice, some dried beans, some onion. And you're going to make you some beans and rice and put it in the crock pot and make the best of it, because at least you have some food. Or you're going to take that little bit of money and you're just going to be like, well, let me just go on and use my credit card like I always do. And at that 24% interest rate, You done spend about, $100 on something that sometimes it's okay to sacrifice for a moment to eat those beans and rice until you could do better. That's your business. Everybody don't need to know. So it's those decisions that you made that, yeah, we have to eat, but how are we going to make the decision of what we're going to do with that little bit of money that we have? How are we going to do it? First of all, that stop spending is real. And then you have to make different choices. You look around that house and you say, oh, there's some things that I can get rid of. There's some organization. There's some skills that I have that I can start me a little small business to bring some money in. But listen, you can bring all the money, you can get the overtime, you can get a new job, side hustle. But if you don't get your money management skills in order and prioritize what is important, and most people they fumble the ball because they lack having that type of plan. So when you get in your car in the morning, if you don't have a plan for a destination, you're just going to be riding around, wasting gas and wasting time. So when it comes to your finances, let's get to that next section. Is coming up with a plan on how to, now that we've stopped spending, how are we going to prioritize the money that we do have? All right. We're going to write down what is have coming in, what's going out. And then after we do that, we're going to see what day are they due? What is the minimum payment? And chronologize, so you'll know on the 15th, this is due. And after you do that, after you write everything down, this is so important. Look at your pay periods and decide what day things are due and come up with a plan to say, now that I know that my lights and my gas and my water, I can pay those on the first pay period of the month. And that gives me enough to go for my rent and my mortgage or my mortgage. That's how you decide. And you use that paycheck just for those things. And if you don't have any emergency money, look around that house, look around that garage, and try to figure out how to start that emergency fund. Because we're going to be in crisis mode in a minute and we need some money. We need some money coming in, okay? And so once you do that, you have created a budget. You've planned it out. Now, some of you are like, well, I'm not really that excited because I'm still living paycheck to paycheck, but at least you know what is coming in and what is going out and what your deficits are. And so if you see a deficit of $500 a month, that's a big problem because it's going to be hard to find $500 a month. But if you see a deficit only $100 a month, there's a little bit of hope, okay? Because we can figure some things out. But $500 a month for 12 months, that's $6,000. Where's the average person? You don't even get a raise annually for that, for the average person, okay? So now we're thinking about, we see what we have. It's real. Now you're becoming financially literate because you're actually looking at what you have, not worried about what nobody else has. You're looking at, I have a $500 deficit every month, or I have a $100 deficit every month. How am I going to make these deficits go away? The next step you'll do is look at, what can I get rid of? So I just got something in the mail for a budget plan. And so they want me to pay, I think, $75 a month. Well, it's some months I don't pay but $2.50. All right. But those months what is really, really cold and I use that energy, it's $2.75. So I have to make a decision. So you know what I'm going to do? Go in there, add up and divide it and see what my average is, which is probably what they did. Okay. But I have to make a decision. So when you're looking at what you have coming in and what you have going out, and that deficit is there, it depends on how extreme the deficit is and how you're more willing and able to change your habits. So Your screaming services. I have such a problem with STR, and I went to speech when I was a little girl. Your streaming services, streaming. Look at those. Do we need subscriptions and things of that sort? Can we get away with it? Can we find $100? Let's just look for $100. So we look at streaming services. We look at our internet. We do we need, you know, the cable, not the internet. We need the internet. The cable. Do we need all those premium channels? Can we cut back maybe $20 over here? Um, do we need Hulu, Netflix, all of that? Like, do we need all of that? Maybe we could get another $20. So that's $40 there. Um, Looking at all your bills. What are you spending on groceries? Is there any way to cut back? Now, I know I'm asking a lot to cut back on groceries, but some of you are buying a lot of processed food that are ready-made food that are more expensive than bought food. Like I said, the bag of potatoes, the bag of rice, soaking those beans and making you a pot of stew. Like last night I did that. I just like to do little different things. But and I'm not even in any financial distress, but I just like to do some very simple things that I had in the cabinet. I just didn't want to go to the grocery store. And that's what I'm going to eat on today. And well, today, because tomorrow's my birthday. So I'm going to do a little something. But what I'm saying to you is, how are we going to get, we only have $40 and we're in a $100 deficit. What is it? Oh, now I'm going to hit you. Some of you are in sororities and fraternities. We have some dues. We have some national conferences. Like, do we have to go every year? I'm not trying to take away money. I'm just trying to be realistic. Going to a conference, you got the flight, you got to pay for the conference, it's $500. You have to have a flight, you have to have a hotel, and then you have to have spending money. So, that trip could be about $1,500 to $1,000. And we already have a $6,000 a year deficit. That's a lot of the money right there. That's about 2/3 of it. So I'm not trying to throw any shade, or you might have some type of box that comes in every month. And that box, we have boxes coming from our friend Rihanna. That box could be $50 a month. Your sorority box might be $60 a month. That's $110. I'm trying to hit you, okay? Some of our gaming systems, some of the things that we buy. So look at those things. How can we do that? Look at those things that you say, I can cut out. Now, I have given y'all $60 for this subscription, $40 for this. Now we're over $100 that I've saved you. But you have to be willing to say, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm living paycheck to paycheck. I'm stressed out. I don't even have $20 in emergency fund. And I have just $3.49 to my next payday 2 weeks from now. That should be enough to say, let me reevaluate some of my priorities, my wants versus my needs. Yes, I want a lot of things, but what is it that I need? And when you define need, I need you to find need as it relates to your surplus or as it relates to your deficit. Because when you start seeing the need, that's why I want you to put it on paper and pencil. Paper and pencil. And you see that you're paying all this extra money on these things that are not putting any food in your household, not giving you any extra for your emergency fund, because you need that $1,000, because emergencies will come. I went and got my oil change. Yeah, my $178 oil change. And then they had the audacity to say, Miss Arnold, start looking at your back tires, because soon you'll need some back tires. And I was thinking to myself, I'm trying to get over this oil change. Now, I've had these type vehicles all my life, so I don't know why I'm tripping, but it's always a funny thing to me. But I have a budget for those things. And if he told me I had to go buy tires today, I would have went up the road and bought the tires, because I have that to the side. I haven't always been that way. I'm like, back in the day, if they said, Miss Honor, I would be like, can I go 6 months? Um, 3 months? How long? Because you're trying to figure out how long you don't have to spend some money. That's real. None of us are better than others. We've all went through the financial thing. So back to you. What are you going to get rid of? And if I'm the one that can say getting rid of, because for 16 months, I was on a $25 a week allowance. And that was it. I did not spend outside of that. I had budgeted for food, and that was my grocery money, and $25 was my extra. Whatever I wanted to spend, $25 a week, that was only $100 a month. But I paid off the 128K in 16 months. I stayed, every extra penny was going on the bill, going on the bill. So what I want to say to you is go back to that spreadsheet that you wrote down of what you have coming in and what you have going out. What is it that you can get rid of? Because you need that $100. You need that $100, so you will at least be breaking even. Now, after you look at that, you got rid of some things. Now, how can we bring some more money in? They are posting some overtime. You need to get that overtime. Or your neighbor needs you to sit with their kid. Send them over. You got your kids over there. Send them over. You know, and charge them, maybe $25 for that week, or however you guys do it for 2 days, or however, but bring some income in. You have your English teacher. Why don't you edit someone's book? Why don't you do some tutoring for some children that might have problems? We're not saying do things forever. Maybe you get a part-time job or get a side hustle. Think about what you can do, because remember, I did 16 months. Some of you might have to do 3 years of being tight. It doesn't matter the amount of time. It's getting on the bandwagon to say, I got a problem, I need some help. And then go back and look at some of your old accounts. I found I had money stuffed everywhere. I went in pocketbooks, started get rid of things, and found not $50, $10 here, $20 here. It ended up being about $100 and something over the course of me decluttering. Those cents start adding up. I remember one night I was sitting on the floor watching something on TV, and I had all this change. I added it up. It was like $36 of change. That was exciting. When you're on a debt-free, just seeing money is exciting, because I was just on a $25 a week allowance, but I was in beast mode. So what I'm saying to you is, how willing are you to cut back, to stop spending, and to find avenues to increase money into your household? Now, if you have a spouse, significant other, partner, whoever they mean, we got to have a conversation. You smoking them 3 packs of cigarettes, baby, we got to get down to a pack and a half. Okay, we need to bring that money in. We need to bring that money in. Or we drinking a 6-pack, every 2 days. We need to do maybe a 6-pack over a week. Like, we've got to get control of the things that we can control, all right? And when it comes to your gas, petroleum is very expensive. Now, if you have an electric car, I'm not speaking to you. But those of us that drive regular cars still, you need to plan. If you're going to work, anything that needs to happen on that side of town needs to happen. You don't come home and then go all the way back on that side of town. That's wasting gas. You need to prioritize. Pretend like the gas then shot up to $15 like it did way back in the day when the gas it was $10 a gallon way back when. We had that little gas thing. It really wasn't $10. It was very expensive though. When it was a shortage, you was planning where you was going. That's the little things, okay? What if you and your girlfriend's going out and there's parking? Why do all y'all have to pay $20 to park? Why can't y'all meet at a store or meet at someone's home and you all ride together and you pay $5? It's 4 of y'all instead of $80, okay? Like, it's simple things. And for those that are late or are not timely, they might not get in on the deal. But think things out and start saving money. Everything I do, I think about what I do and why I do it before I pick up my card to swipe it. Now, I'm a card swiper because I have that discipline, that temperance, that every pay period I pay half of my bill. So at the end of the month, it's totally paid off. And then I use those mileage for traveling and for hotel stays. Those are the things that you grow up to be able to do. And when I say grow up financially to do. So at this point, you're saying to your guy friends, I can't go hang out with to the pub with you guys because I spent about $75 and we've only been there like 2 hours. Even though it's happy hour, you still, can you just get one drink and kind of sip on it and play one round of pool and get on back to the house so you won't be tempted? These are just the things you have to ask yourself. And are you tired of being only $3.49 left out of your paycheck? You paid your bills, but you got $3.49. You have 2 more weeks to go. How you gonna make it? You got a full tank of gas, but that gas gonna run out. Where are the extras? And please, y'all get mad at me, but decluttering is the best thing. It brings money and peace into your household because you're decluttering. You can see on your tops of your shelves and under your cabinets and your counters. You can see under your bed, like you're not stuffing things. That's what I'm talking about. Come up with a plan. So part-time job, side hustle, overtime, and we're talking for a season. Every 3 months, check yourself and say, I'm doing real good. I'm gonna stick with this another 3 months. So when I set out to do debt-free, I didn't set out to do something for 16 months. I thought within 3 to 5 years I would pay off the debt because I'm working towards retirement at that time. And so after 3 months, I said, what? $15,000 I paid on debt in 3 months, January, February, March. I had paid off several credit cards and my student loan. I was like, what? Then I got excited. I was like, well, let me try this for 6 more months. Well, then April, May, and June, by the time my birthday, June 30th, it was $35,000. Now, that's not, I didn't include my mortgage debt. This is just personal debt at that time. And I was like, what? I hadn't started adding that in. So on my own, I had paid $35,000 from January to June, January 1 to June 30th. So then I started saying, what? I need to start looking around this house and start decluttering. The next thing I was in August, and I had went $45,000, and my car was paid off. It was $19,000 in January. All of that was paid off because I just kept every time I took the extra money, put it to that next bill, that snowball effect. And I was so beside myself, I went to Papa Do's in Atlanta and I bought a whole adult beverage. I did not stick to my $25 a week. I celebrated. I had a big old seafood feast of some sort. I had 2 big grown people drinks. I think I spent $60. That was a lot of money. And I celebrated with my friends because I had paid off $45,000 in debt in 8 months. And that's when my girlfriend said, Adrian, well, what you pay for your mortgage? And I said, oh. So I started keeping up with my mortgage debt and my consumer debt separate. So you couldn't tell me nothing. I was like, oh, let me go ahead and get this part-time job. And they had a part-time job doing vaccines, flu vaccine. I took that part-time job after work and on the weekends. And I did that for about four months and made about, I think it's about $8,000. I sure did. And I still was doing overtime at the job. But I could see my way. And I was down to 2 more bills. Now I was like, shoot. Woo! I can do it. So by August, you couldn't tell me nothing. I slid into. So let me tell you what I did. September, October. I think it was October, November, December. I decluttered because I was like, let's go and get some more stuff out of here. And I started getting rid of everything. I mean, getting rid of. And I ended up with $6,000 towards for my finances for my debt-free cleanup because I was willing to let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go. So what are you gonna do? Get in that house and declutter. Start in them kids' room, okay? Get rid of them bikes and all that stuff that they not, and take a picture of some of that stuff because y'all want to hold on to everything, the christening gown and all this different stuff. Keep some momentum sake, and then get rid of that stuff, sell it, get on a marketplace and offer up and sell that stuff. And look around your house and just be like, "Ooh, now my house is a complete hot mess." If this thing fall down and y'all see what's going on in my living area, I told you I've been down for 3 weeks, so cleaning up is like the last thing I want to do. But what I say to you is $3.49 is all you have left, or you have a deficit of $100 every pay period, or you have a deficit of $500, every month. When you're in a deficit, we got to figure out, going through those bills, what can we trim the fat, going through our house, selling and get rid of, because we don't even have an emergency fund. These are the things that you do to change your reality. And don't compare yourself with your neighbors and your friends. Those people that are in healthcare, they tend to make a little bit more. Those people out here, let me tell you, I come from the South and healthcare is it. We bamming and jamming. You come over here to California, them tech people will look at you like, that little bit of money, because tech people make a lot of money. And over in California, it is the metropolis of tech. So what I'm saying to you is, don't compare yourself. You got yourself into this mess. Walk in forgiveness. Forgive everybody. Forgive yourself. Oh, and those of you that went through a divorce, been there, done that, some of you came out on the negative, okay? And it takes a minute to pull yourself back up. So if you're thinking about divorcing, I want you to think about real good. Going over to that counselor, if he ain't beating you, or cheating on you, or just destroying your mental capacity, you better work that thing out. Work that thing out. Work that thing out. It's cheaper to keep her. It's cheaper. Go back and look, because it might not be worth it. Those little habits and idiosyncrasies that he had or she had them when y'all got together, okay? And don't be mad if he's excelled in his career and you figure it out. This silly stuff, figure it out, okay? And ain't nothing out here in these streets. As a single person, I say to you, these streets, work on your marriage, work on your relationships. Don't give up on each other so easily. And stop being nitpicky. Keeping score. You did it. Okay, now that was my marriage session for today. Stay with the people. If you can tolerate them, stay with them and find out why you love them in the first place and try to get back there. Because that's money. You're spending money to these lawyers and they're going to take it. They're going to charge you for every phone call. I'm telling you, I've had friends that are like, oh my God, they're going to take half of your 401k. Yeah. Half of your military benefits. Y'all, it's cheaper to keep her. And Susie Floozy and Don Juan that you're leaving your man for, they ain't even worth it. These girls ain't loyal. I'm telling you, I don't know how I got off on this, but somebody is about to make a painful mistake. Get yourself back together. Call that lawyer and say, no, hold off. Get your retainer back. Go home and figure it out. Y'all get in the floor, get them bills together and figure it out. You got it's employee assistance program. They give you some free counseling. So she has a job and you have a job. Y'all get 3 sessions from her job and 3 sessions from your job. And try to keep the same counselor, and y'all get you some financial counseling, get some couples counseling. I'm talking about free. Get in there. Don't stop playing around. Use your resources. That's what that job is for. Okay? Don't give up on love. It's going to cost you. It's going to cost you. Now, back to where you are. You're getting your part-time job. You're decluttering. You're coming up with ways in which you can get rid of some of these bills that you have. Let me tell you, when I was paying that debt off, you get to a point you don't have nothing else to pay off because the next debt is so long. And I'm like, oh. So then I start going back to my I already was doing half payments a month. I was doing every bi-weekly payments, and I was paying another extra because I was dividing my monthly and divided it. So I added that extra. So that was like two payments extra a year. So if I had $25 and I knew I couldn't pay off that next bill, I would take that $25 and just put it on principal more. I just needed to see a number change. I just need to see something change, you know. And that's what you do. You just do what you have to do to stay motivated and engaged. But everybody in the household got to be on that financial plan. That means the children's too. The children. Everybody need to. We are going to be debt free. So they're not going to leave the sodas halfway. They're going to drink it or put it in the refrigerator. You're going to drink it up for dinner because this maybe was lunch and you played around. We're not throwing away. We're not being wasteful. We're going to honor God with everything that we have. Our food, our money, our body, our resources, everything, our knowledge. Oh, and when I say looking at what you can do, some of you are great financially. Help some of your family members, help some of your friends. Now, you know, I've given up on trying to, because when people are not ready, they're not ready. Offer your services. Tell them that you don't care nothing about their $100,000 worth of debt. You just want to see them successful and try to help them get that budget together. Use your resources, okay, to help people. All right. So now that we have acknowledged that we are living paycheck to paycheck, and we start writing our bills down and coming up with a plan on how we're going to do it, we cut down on our our expenses, we stop spending, and we start looking at plans to get out of this debt, working overtime, getting a part-time job, get another side hustle, you know, partnering. Now, this is another thing. Partnering with family and friends with food. Like you guys go to Costco. Like I go to Costco, but only for certain things because Costco's and Sam's is for big family type things, or if you have a business. So sometimes you can overdo it by going to these places. Now I like to get like bulk toilet paper, paper towel. But if you can partner with another family and buy like a case of chicken and divide it up, you see what I'm saying? Like buy things in bulk items. They might not need as much as you, and then y'all pay accordingly. Or do meal prepping together. Sometimes, you know, when you have a little bit of people, you know, the groups are better. Meal prep together. And if you get tired of eating those beans, just put them in the fridge. You can't throw them away now. Put them in the fridge because it's going to be another day. If y'all knew how I ate, I have a little bit of beans, a little bit of rice. I will have that stuff in the freezer. I'll come in here one day before work and I'll take it out of the freezer and put it in the refrigerator. By the time I come home, it's thawed out and I'm ready to have a little meal. And that's the way it is. I might, you know, do me some fish or, you know, steam some fish, but you're eating in 20 minutes. What I'm saying to you is figure out ways to make things happen. I think as Americans, we're so spoiled because we can go to the grocery store because it's 5 minutes from our house. Back in the day, people went to the grocery store like once a week or once a month because they didn't have transport. Everybody didn't have a car. Like now, all 5 of your kids have a car, your husband and your wife. Like it's 7 cars. And your neighbors are pissed because you got cars all up, you know. Yeah. But you would use what you had and you would make those resources work because you know you couldn't just send your kid down the road. And so you would work with what you have. Act as if you're in that day. This is all you have. And you have to use the MacGyver in you to come up with a plan. So no, we're not buying new furniture. We're going to spray paint some things. We're going to sand some things down. We're going to start growing some vegetables in our backyard or some herb garden in our kitchen. You see what I'm saying? Now you have some cabbage that you're going in the back and get, some tomatoes you're getting, you know. You might even have some kale back there. Now you can make you a salad. And don't forget the crock pot. Throw a bunch of stuff in the crock pot and season it. It tastes good, boo-boo. It tastes good. But what I'm saying to you is you have to come up with plans to change your situation. Don't worry about your neighbors. Don't worry about your friends. They are on a whole different level. You don't even know. I never forget this girl. She used to wear all these fancy clothes. Come to find out, her uncle, her aunt, her granddaddy and grandmother, and her mother, they all lived in one small house. But she was Vogue every single day. So we talking about 6 or 7 people in one house. But that's how people lived. And they lived in abundance because everybody is paying the common into one pot so we all can be great. Not separating out. Everybody's struggling to pay $700 to $1,500 a month and you barely making it. But if you treat people right, they might let you come back and stay with them. Follow the rules, all that smoking and drinking and coming in when you feel like it, not keeping yourself clean and, tearing up people's houses. That's why people don't let you live with them. That's why we can't come together and being arrogant. But humble yourself. Rent a room. I'm telling you, sometimes you just rent a room and don't put all that crap in your storage. You spend all this money on the store. It's junk when you put it in there. And it's definitely going to be junk when it comes out. I don't even care if you get a climate control. Because if it's more than 2 years, you could have bought that stuff again. And you don't need half of it in there. Declutter. That storage wars. Go ahead and get rid of that stuff. Have your yard sale for the stuff in the garage. Take that money and put it somewhere so when it's time for you to go and get you an apartment or something, you will have a down payment. Listen, I don't play. Too much is given, much is required. You want the life that you want, but you don't even know how to put that in writing because you're scared to write down the debt. Because when you see it, it's going to make those dreams and goals feel like it's so far away. But no, what it does, it motivates you to say, I'm farther from it than I think. What can I do to make myself closer to it? It will catapult you to being better. When you say, my child is it's 7 years old and she's about gonna graduate one day and I have no money for her college education, that should motivate you. Or my car tires is about to pop and the safety of my kids are really at risk. It's summertime. It's in a double and almost getting into triple digits. It's high. It's hot. What am I going to do? This is the safety of my children. How am I going to get 4 tires? This is real. This is basic stuff. There's nothing wrong with eating a pot of soup and some cornbread. Make you some garlic bread out of the light bread. I don't know how you put the, what is it? You put the butter and you put the powdered garlic on. We used to do that back in the day. Who you think you are? Sometimes we have to go back to Old Faithful. And then the next thing you do, you get your whole bunch of noodles and a little bit of meat and make you some spaghetti, okay? And let that spaghetti stretch. That's what you do. Pot of soup, some spaghetti the next day, and you just keep it moving. Drinking some good old water, fluid, hydrate yourself. It's back to the basics. You don't need the Capri Suns and all the sodas. And take family walks and talk. Take the kids to the park because you don't have money to do anything big. Do the simple things. Movie night in the house. Go to the Dollar Tree, get you some popcorns and stuff, and you sit around, let the kids pick a few little things out, and y'all watch movies. It's the time. They just want to be up under you. Let them lay in your bed. You never let them in your bedroom anyway. Let them lay in your bed. Y'all have some popcorn and cover them drinks with some lids, and just have fun. They're going to fall asleep. They just so glad to be there with you. It's the simple things. All right, guys, I'm going to close this out and let you know one thing. You are closer to your financial goals because you made a decision to watch this video today. With the gems that I've given you to go back and reassess your life from beginning to end. That means, why do I think like this? Why do not have any financial goals and achievements that I can do? How can I save $1? We started with one thing at a time, acknowledging that we want to make some financial differences, right? We want to be different. Steps to financial freedom. That's what we want. Steps to financial freedom. It begins with you. You guys have a wonderful day. Mwah. And happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday, dear Adrienne, with your 55-year-old self tomorrow. Happy birthday to me. So I will be going on my third trip for the year and celebrating again, just celebrating. I did Dubai and Qatar, and then I did Aruba. And the next trip will be the Dominican Republic. And later on in the year, I'll be in Europe with Brussels, Paris, London, and Amsterdam. Yes. So I am living, but I still have saved 135K in the last 3 years. Real money saved. So I'm not asking you guys to do anything. And even though I'm consumer debt free, I still invest in my 401k, 30,000 a year. And I've been able to also save 130. Now I've invested in things. I didn't just save it in the bank. Okay. But I'm telling you, you can do it. Love you guys.